Welcome, class, to the adventure that is African imperialism. Today you will play the role of potential Belgian imperialists during the mass colonization of Africa in late 1800s and early 1900s. By the end of this WebQuest, you will have a better understanding of imperialism in its reality and in its fantasy. So as a class, you will play a role as just released from jail small-time offense criminals. You and your friends have made a name for yourselves. Small-time offense criminals, and you can't find jobs anywhere. While you're strolling down the street in Brussels after release, a man jumps up on you, emerges out of nowhere, offers you and your friends to become explorers and move to Africa. Of course, your friends realize that you haven't had any luck finding jobs in Brussels because of your crimes, and so they want to jump at the opportunity. But of course, some of your other friends are a little bit more skeptical. The man who offers you the job paints a picture of Africa. It's an amazing place, full of opportunity and adventure. But you and a few of your friends are not so sure. Because of this, your friends decide to split into two groups to decide whether you will go or not. You decided either all of you go or none of you go. So the two groups decide to break off and go off and find their own research on the topic to decide whether Africa is a great adventure or if it is not. The first task you and your groups will take on is creating an argument. You need to identify imperialism and find information about it. The strength of your argument could send you or your friends to Africa or keep you home in Belgium. Each group member should be ready to argue one aspect of the argument more in depth to provide a stronger argument. So the task is to form into 4 or 5 groups and research information about imperialism in Africa. Identify either support for imperialism in Africa or against. Focus your research on the actions of Western countries and find the Western world's reasons for and against imperialism. For your strongest argument, your final presentation should incorporate the definition of imperialism and its positives or negatives, depending on the group, an analysis of the motivations of various countries engaged in imperialism, an explanation of the major events in Africa which led to imperialism, any additional points of discussion your groups can argue, and ultimately, you do not have to feel the same as your group and can provide information on the side of your guys' group presentation of your own feelings on the topic. Your process. Your process is 1, to break into 4 or 5 groups, 2, to explore imperialism, 3, explain how imperialism started in Africa, 4, explain the reasons for imperialism, and 5, to research and create the argument for your group's move to Africa or refusal to move. So below we've been provided some links. These links will help you form your arguments. Each of these links is connected more to one of the questions because it strengthens that area more, but each link can be cross-referenced to any other section. The definition of imperialism is potential benefits. If you are against or for imperialism, can be researched through the Atlantic and exhibitions. Analysis of the motivations of various countries engaged in imperialism can be researched through Pearson Higher Ed and BBC. An explanation of the major events in Africa and the world which led to imperialism is most noted in Sailor and YouTube. And any additional points can be found in the following YouTube video. And now how you will be evaluated. So since you're all going to do exemplary work, we'll only go over the exemplary section. For the definition of imperialism, you need to provide an in-depth definition of imperialism with multiple examples of support. for or against, demonstrate a higher level of critical thinking and personal ideas on the subject matter. Motivations of imperialism. You need to separate motivations into individual countries and group similar countries and their motivations together, provide information on the results of their imperialism. You need to provide a minimum of 4 countries. Causes of imperialism. Recognize individual countries and their main reasons for imperialism with historical support. You need to recognize at least 7. Participation. Student needs to show strong collaboration with group members, have an opinion with multiple sources of support, and be involved in presentation and discussion. Each of those sections is worth 25%, coming to 100% total. At the end of this WebQuest, you will learn the motivations and background of the scramble for Africa. You will be able to identify the motivations of various nations and their colonization of Africa. You will learn the background of African imperialism, including the struggles, the lies, the truths, and the important aspects of colonial movements. Lastly, you will be made aware of African imperialism. You will form your own opinions on the subject matter and be able to defend your opinions.